What's up, gamers? How the heck are you? My name is Epic Pins, and in today's grounded video, we're going back to some tips and tricks. Now, with the recent update, the Bug Strike Back, we got something brand new introduced to the game that we've never had before: base raids. I know you guys have heard about base raids 100 times ever since the public test servers have dropped. You've seen how they operate, how they work, and stuff like that. But things have changed for us over the last couple of updates. Things have been adapted and changed ever so slightly. I'm not really going to go into detail about those things, but what I want to do is help newer players, or veteran players or whatever, discover new places or better places to basically start the game and where to build. Okay, so there's a lot of things you have to think about now that we didn't really think about as much in the beginning of the game that we used to play. So we used to focus a lot on the start of the game, basically just kind of putting roots down somewhere, getting things built. That way we can start building the tools we need to upgrade and to build cool houses that we all loved and cherished. And we didn't care as much where they were located. Don't get me wrong, we always kind of found like a cool place to put up, things, but it wasn't as much of a thought as we have to have now. Because where you place your base can basically aggravate bugs to the point that they will want to raid you even more. So depending on how far you are away from, let's say, their home or something like that, there are factors that go into how often you will be raided. So it's stuff you have to think about. So in this video, I kind of want to go over a few locations for different levels of the game, for starting the game, for about midway through, and maybe the in-game style where you can choose to build, or good places, in my opinion, to build. Now remember, this is my opinion. You can build wherever you want in this game. You are free to build wherever your heart desires, but just keep in mind that things could be difficult for you, that if you put in a place that's going to be a difficult place to play. So now, with that said, let's go over a few of those locations and let's see what you guys think. All right, guys, so to start things off, it's going to be pretty much what you guessed. It's probably one of the most notable starting areas, or the starting building areas, that most seasoned grounded players will tell you to start at, just because they are so easy to build on. They are nice and flat, they are high up, and they just work. So if you're looking for solid areas to build on, my advice is go to the flower garden next to the oak, or next to the oak tree, the oak lab, that area, and build up on top of one of these log borders that separate the yard from the flower bed, kind of thing. The reason we say this is because it's really high up. It's hard for bugs to get up on top of, and with the bugs around the area, nothing's gonna really come up here and bother you. Even with this leaf here, I have yet to have something follow me up this leaf onto this upper one. As you can see, I've actually moved quite a bit of my stuff over to my new main base here in this particular game. This is my streaming game, but I moved most of them over to my area. But as you can see, I had stuff up here at some point, but I usually build a small camp. I'll have like a workbench here. I won't go too crazy here, though I know people have built some elaborate things here. The only thing I worry about now with building too big here is that there are mosquitoes that hang out right over there, and you could potentially piss them off if you get too big here. Orb weavers also spawn at the bottom down here, so that is stuff that you have to worry about. They typically don't bother you. I don't have them aggro to me a lot just because they don't notice me up here. You have some disadvantages, but you have a lot of advantages for being here. You're right next to Burgle. You're right next to a field station, as you can see directly below this one. Field station, you have all the acorns, which is a lot of early heavy armor that a lot of people like to go for. You have clovers. You have a lot of resources here. Water spawns, or you have water droplet spawns that happen all around this area, which sometimes you can get to a dry area we don't see a lot that often. But you also have, with acorns come food, because acorn droplets will come out of each acorn you crack open. So it's a lot of early game. Supplies will be right here, readily available, and it's just a great area to focus on. So if you guys are starting out the game, basically what you need to do, follow the in-game directions that tell you how to start the game. So basically, like, follow the commands that it's giving you, the quest that it's giving you. Once you complete the quest and it gets you over here next to Burgle, or gets you over here next to this oak tree, just look for one of these things and start setting up. Now, don't get me wrong, You might need to set up a hut somewhere so you can at least sleep through one night, and you may need to set up a workbench so it gets you a little bit better tool, but you don't always have to do that. A lot of stuff can be made within your inventory before you even get to needing a workbench. So I didn't craft a workbench really until I get over here. Maybe sometimes I do it a little early just to get it done, but nothing really bothers you up here, which is a nice pleasant place to just kind of build. But I worked my way, you know, eventually you'll work your way past this, because I like to build big elaborate bases. It's just kind of what I like to do, which, don't get me wrong, you can do that here. I just don't really love how it looks, but a lot of cool things can be made here. There's a lot of great creators on YouTube that have built insanely cool bases on top of these things, so get ideas from them, come up with your own. Love it. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. All right, guys, another early game building area that's pretty good is going to be the lily pads on the pond. You can actually build on top of any one of these lily pads. They're nice and flat. They give you a good surface to work with. I will say, though, do not think you're 100% safe, because lily pads spiders can jump on lily pads now. They can come out in this wonderful area and jump on multiple lily pads to get to you. But as long as you're not pissing off any of the spiders, your base should be pretty safe out here for the most part. Other bugs don't seem to come out here as much. I haven't really seen ants chase me out here. I'm not saying that they can't. I just haven't experienced it. So if it is something that you guys are experiencing, please leave that in the comments below for people to read. Other than that, these are nice and flat. They're very versatile. There's a ton of them out here, so you can connect a few of them if you want to build different little spots. But most things don't bother you out here. I will say that over next to this little I don't know, piece of bark that's floating in the water, be careful, mindful of that, because there are mosquitoes that hang out on the other side of that. So if you build a little close to that, you might piss them off, so be wary of that. But anywhere over here in these areas, you should be pretty good to build on. Good early area. There's plenty of resources right over here in these areas right here that you can take advantage of. There is obviously the carton of juice over there along with the soda can, so access to some human food is great in this game because it's good energy and stuff like that. So another wonderful area. If you guys want to check this out, you are welcome to. But those are some two good starting areas, in my opinion, to really just kind of get your feet, well, pun intended, get your feet wet in the game, and really be able to start yourself off on a good foot, where you're not worried about being attacked constantly by the raids that do happen in this game. So use this if you'd like. All right, guys, so moving on to your mid-game builds. So mid-game builds, you've progressed a little bit in the yard. You've probably done the hedge. You're moving on to your insect axes and hammers and things like that, and you're getting different resources, so you're ready to build even more crazier bases. So with this, I think this kind of where you reach the point where you could stay in this area for the rest of the game. Don't get me wrong, you can stay in any area you want, but this is kind of where you get to the point where you want to build kind of mid-game, or like middle of the game area, in my opinion. You want to be relatively close to a lot of things. So I usually choose right here. So the stone path that leads from the house out to the shed, I usually build here. I've gotten away, with recent updates, I've gotten away from building over there next to the, like right next to the wall to the upper area. I used to build somewhere around in there. But with the mosquitoes right there and the honey, or the bees right there, you run the risk of aggroing them to your area, causing raids to happen a lot more frequently than you probably like. So I've moved my base locations more towards the haze. So the haze is not turned off in this game yet. I've just recently completed, well, semi-completed the building of this location in my live streams, which if you guys would like to check out, I will be streaming, should be streaming every Friday for a while, every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys would like to tune in and hang out with me and talk about Grounded, that's pretty much what we do as we play through the game. This is a whole new world I've started, so none of my other builds would be here, but I have pushed over here. This is about the edge of the haze. I haven't turned it off yet. Don't know if I'm going to. About the edge of the haze, and I think it's far enough that I haven't pissed off any bees yet in this world, so I don't think that they're gonna aggro to me over here, and mosquitoes are way over there. The only thing you have issues over here is a wolf spider does like go around this area a lot, but he hasn't bothered me yet, and I've been up here while he walked around, so he didn't aggro to me, he didn't bother me, he didn't even notice I was there. But here you are central to the map, in my opinion. You are located pretty, not middle, but pretty close to everything that's going to be viable, in my opinion, for moving into later game. If you go straight down there, you're going to have access right to the upper yard, into the charcoal area, and then the wood pile in the back. You have access to the shovel right here to knock over to get on top of the picnic table, and also zip line across into the antlion area along, or the sandbox, all that stuff. You got the Black Ant Hill right over there, and then you have the haze area right in here. If you choose to turn this off, obviously all of this will be accessible, but you got tons of resources such as dry grass, regular grass, clovers are over there underneath the picnic table. You also have access to all the quartzite. There's a ton of quartzite inside of this haze area, plus mid-game stuff like that. Lots of bugs, and if you haven't turned off haze yet, lots of bugs die right in this area, so you can go in here with your mask on and collect all the bugs that die, especially food like weevils and aphids. A ton of them have died in here, and I just collect their bodies. I don't have to chase down food, I just collect their bodies and go back and cook it. So once again, this is a great area in my opinion. Once again, this is an area that you can stay at for foreseeable future of the game. If anything happens to me, or if you guys have built here and things have happened to you, I completely understand. You don't have to, or you can tell me in the comments. I mean, you just let me know that, hey, I've built there and crazy stuff happens, so be careful. I'm ready to hear that. Please tell me in the comments if you guys have heard that at all. So another mid-game base building area that I like to point out is this slab of rock that's pretty flat over next to, I guess this is more over next to Frankenline on the other side of the tree, on this far side, closer to the pond. This is pretty, this is actually pretty middle of the game-ish for the most part, or like middle of the map for the most part. This is a great area because it's pretty high off the ground. Not a lot of the things can hop up here. You have a few spiders that hang around it. And the reason I say this is more of a mid-game-ish area because you have a lot of bomber beetles that like to hang out underneath. It'll usually spawn 2 to 3 bomber beetles, as you can see right there, underneath. And a few orb weavers will spawn over here as well, as you can see there are webs. So a few orb weavers like to hang out in this area as well. So that being said, with the bomber beetles and everything down there, it just... sometimes it's better to have a little bit better tier armor if you're going to hang out at this particular spot. But other than that, you can get here pretty easily early on in the game if you'd like to. It's not a bad early spot as well, but mid-game, just because of the creatures that you'll be dealing with over here. So like I said, it's over here near the Frankenline. The Frankenline's right there. If you just come all the way, follow the wood all the way down, it's behind the last wooden chunk just close to the water. So you have access to all the acorn and stuff over next to the big oak tree. You'll also have access to the pond. It's right there when you want to do that stuff. And then just over there, it's not that far, you'll have your upward descent into the upper backyard area. So this could be later game as well if you'd like to. Once again, all of these areas can be whatever you want them to be. I'm just saying that this is where I usually like to build if I'm building mid-game-ish. Granted, I've tried out multiple areas. This is one of the areas that I like to build in. So just another little tip. It is high off the ground. Red ants, even though you are close to the Red Ant Hill, I mean, the Red Ant Hills are right over there. Even though you are close to Red Ant Hill, they can't jump up here. So it's a good solid spot unless you build a ramp up here. But you really don't need to because there's plenty of stones around it that you can honestly just hop up on and hop right up on top up there. So I try my best if I build up high to use the natural area around me to get to my location, because if I build a ramp up there, then that's just one more thing that bugs can get up to get to me. So keep this area in mind, and if you guys like it, use it. All right, so one of the, and I'm calling them in-game base builds because coming to these areas, you need a little bit more higher tier armor and higher tier, like you'll start to get your higher tier weapons and stuff like that. So I'm not saying that you can't come up here with lower tier stuff, but this is just kind of like where you end up when you're getting more towards end of the current game that we're playing. Obviously the game has not ended yet. There's still plenty of it to go around. There's still plenty of updates to come out, so this may not be a viable area in the future, but for now, for me, it is. And for one reason why, this isn't centrally located. You are pretty far from, let's say, like the hedge, which is way over there. You're pretty far from the sandbox, which is way over there, kind of stuff like that. So you do have a trek to make when you need to go over there for, the berry parts for berry leather, or if you need to go to the, get more antlion parts or something like that. It is going to take you a little bit more of a trek to get over there. I say this is a best area in late game because later game, you're going to start pissing off things a little bit more because you're going to be in the game. You've been in the game for a while, so things are more aware of you in the yard. Things did not get up here, in my opinion. Like, from what I've seen, it's a struggle for red ants to get up here. They can, but a lot of times they end up just spawning on the upper area up there and then trying to come down. They honestly attack that little building up there more often than anything else. That's the reason I built that thing, to get up there quickly. They were attacking my line, and then I needed a way to get up there quickly to stop them from doing that. Or they'll attack from down here, and they rarely come into my actual facility. So it's just like, it's just a good spot. Now, you do have a wolf spider that spawns in every now and again, or not spawns in, but he comes walking over here. But since I have the fence put up, he doesn't come into this area at all. He hits that fence line kind of and just turns around and goes the other way. Other than that, there is not much here that will bother you. So you are in a good spot. You have easy access to the upper part of the map. You have easy access to anything over in the coal area. Also, I built a staircase down and a zip line. Well, actually, my zip line was destroyed, but I built a staircase down so that I can easily access the pond and then the oak tree area and then the grasslands. But other than that, you can easily just jump down and make your way back up here, kind of thing like that. But this is a good ending game area for me and for a lot of other people, just because they don't seem to attack that well up here. I don't know if the creatures just have a hard time spawning up here, have a hard time getting to this area when raids happen, but every single time I've been raided, other than with obviously flying creatures, but every single time I've been raided up here, they haven't been successful because they can't get to my main house. And I mean, I have it pretty well defended anyway, for the most part, but they can't really get to the main house and the main area. So this is just another good area, I think, here, and even a little more over on any one of these stones. So this area seems to be done with the construction side of it, so I don't think we should have to worry about the stones moving that much. So building on them is kind of okay now. I would worry about that in the future, but with this part of the yard being a huge upgrade, this is going to end up kind of being middle-ish of the map too. So I think this will be a good area to come into and have direct access to the back part of the yard, where we're going to start seeing a lot of new changes in the future with new updates into that area. So I think this is why I think this is a good ending kind of area. I feel like a lot of people build here, and obviously I have, because I like my setup, but once again, this is completely your decision. Every place I've mentioned is just good building areas, so if you want to build your base there, you're more than welcome to. That's why Grounded's an amazing game, because it's so versatile on how you want to play. And with that being said, it's also how hard you want to make it on yourself. If you want to build a house on top of the red anthill, you are welcome to. Obviously, you're going to aggro the ants a lot, but you're welcome to do that. And if you want to make the game a little more challenging for you, that's what Grounded's about. It's all about kind of your experience and how hard you want to make it on yourself. I choose to build this up here because I was going for aesthetics at the time. I built this way before the raids happened, and I thought it was a cool area to build, and I was like, oh, because I always look for kind of flat areas. But even with the raids coming, I was like, okay, now I don't want my stuff being destroyed. So I like this up here because things don't seem to come up here and destroy my things. So keep that in mind, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I honestly, half the time doing these videos, I forget to breathe. So if you guys hear me get a little breathy as I'm going through these videos, it's because I'm forgetting to breathe, because I'm trying to get the information out and I forget to breathe all the time. So I am super sorry about that, guys. I am trying to work on that on my video presence. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please leave in the comments below what's your favorite location to build in. What are some tips and tricks that you use in order to make your bases well defended and awesome locations to build? I'd love to know. I don't know everything about this game. That's what we're all here for. We're built as a community that loves this game, and I just love the fact that we can go into the Discord and we can figure stuff out together and enjoy the game as it's being created and as it's being designed in front of us, and it's just absolutely amazing. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.